Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. This is another Gray Market AMA, this time with our friend, mod, and project creator of Neo Films, The Film Perspective. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Perspective. Could you please introduce yourself to everybody who might not know who you are?
For sure, for sure. My name's Aaron, and I go by the film perspective or film. I've been a mod in Gray Market since inception, and I just recently started Neo Masterpiece Films right around the end of May, and I've been growing it ever since to become one of the first Web3 production companies in the space.
The first Web3 production companies in this space. So nobody, from what I understand, nobody is trying to do what you're doing, based on, just my own personal research. So what is it exactly that you're trying to do in connecting Web3 with filmmaking?
So the biggest thing is using NFTs as a bridge to bridge Web3 and the film industry. One of the biggest things about the film industry is it's very gated. There's a lot of walls that are set up to keep the average person out. Whether that is knowing the right people in order to, be an actor, director, what have you, in the film industry, or just to be an investor in the film industry. Of course, if you're trying to do, small independent films for your buddy, of course you can be an investor. But for larger projects, you have to be connected to the production company itself, and more often than not, you have to be an accredited investor, which right there is a financial wall for probably 90% of the world.
Uh-huh. So that now accredited investor requires a certain level of monetary commitment, yes?
Correct.
So,
And
yeah.
in the Web 2, in the real world, as we might say, it's very gated. But here in Web 3, there are no gates. That we're very much in an area where we can create what we want, and we don't have to worry about all of those walls. And that's where I saw the opportunity, was to take this chance while those walls haven't been built yet, and change the way that the industry is designed. And that's kind of what my goal is with Neo.
Perfect, perfect. So before we get diving into that, just a quick reminder to everybody watching that nothing in this interview should be considered financial advice. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes. Please do your own research. Once this AMA is concluded, we will be posting links to the Neo Discord where you can ask Aaron any questions you might have that might not get answered in this interview, but that is all up to you. Please, once again, do your own research. So, jumping into what you're exactly going to be up to with Neo Films, the first thing that you brought up to me was that you're going to be holding your first NFT mint. Now, can you give us some details about that?
Yeah, so the plan as of right now is to hold the first Neo NFT mint at either the end of October or early November. The way that we have it set up is the Neo Mint is used to raise the capital funds in order to have a budget for our films. So we will mint out each NFT in rounds to produce a different aspect of the film. So this first mint is for pre-production of the big film that we our first goal with Neo, which is the Groomer. So we're going to be minting out 3,333 of our Neo NFTs, and all of those funds will be used to fund the pre-production of the Groomer and get the ball rolling on that. And as we're rolling on pre-production of the Groomer, we will then set up our second mint, which would be another 3,333 NFTs that will be used to fund the production of the Groomer.
Okay. So details on the mint? Do we have an exact price point in mind for this mint?
So the price point as of right now is $150, and whatever ETH is equates that to in the next 2 months. And that's for mint price. If you are whitelist, it's 125, and if you are OG, it's $100.
Okay, so how do we here, us mortals here, acquire these roles of whitelist / OG?
Pretty simple, especially for those here in Gray Market. Just come over to the Discord and say, "What's up? You're here from Gray," and I will give you your whitelist. OG is a little bit more difficult. Really, you have to be kind of an ambassador for the project, and spread the word, get your friends in, and just be a cool person inside of the Discord and participate in the games. Chat with others that are in there, make it feel like a friendly environment, and I award OG to those that I think achieve that level.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Gray market, automatic whitelist. Just another one of the many perks we have here. So regarding the funding for these projects that these NFTs are going to allow for. So we talked yesterday briefly about this, and an interesting question that came up was the you're getting these film companies hiring you for these movies, documentaries, films, what have you, and if they pay for everything, what's the point of the investor money?
So the way that it works is with Neo, there's two types of NFTs. There's the founder NFT and the Neo NFT. As I said, the Neo NFT is basically used as a way to raise the budget for our films and for you to own a piece of the company. The founder NFTs is fractionalized ownership of Neo films. By holding a founder NFT, you are entitled to revenue from all of our productions. And granted, yes, we do get paid for the productions that we produce, for other projects, for the documentary that we're working on and things like that. But you are also an investor, and my belief is that by you believing in my company, believing in my vision, and investing in it, you are entitled to the money that we produce. So what we do is we take the whole pie, all of the revenue that we generate, and we split it into 60% that goes towards funding our film projects, 20% that goes towards paying the staff, paying the team members, and then 20% that goes towards our founders. And that 20% is then divvied up amongst those that hold different tiers of our NFT. Yeah, granted, I could just keep all the money, but then why? That would defeat the purpose of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to allow people into this industry instead of having them be gated out. And by doing that, allowing them to earn revenue from what we create and be a part of the production process. So if we get paid, say $5,000 to create a project for Horde, we're going to take that $5,000 and we're going to divvy it up into 60, 20, 20. And that 20% will then be divvied up amongst our founders and airdrop to them at the end of the month. And that'll be for any kind of projects that come down the pipeline that create revenue for the project.
Of course, accessibility, as you mentioned, being one of the main driving forces behind Neo. So that does indeed, that does check out. That does indeed make sense. So you mentioned that there are two separate NFTs. Are these going to be the same price point for both, or is there going to be variance there?
Good question. So the founder NFTs is set up in 3 tiers. They're a much more limited supply, and there will never be any new mints of those founder NFTs once they are minted out. They are essentially being used as a bootstrap for bootstrapping the company to get, camera packages, lighting, sound equipment, all of the things that are necessary for the high level productions that we are going to be creating. And in return for those, there's 3 tiers. The top tier is what I call the whale tier. It's $35,000. You are essentially an executive producer of the company at that point, and you collect a higher portion of revenue versus the other 2 tiers. You get executive producer credit in our films. You get some of the higher level perks that we offer when it comes to coming on to the set, doing behind the scenes visits, meeting the cast and crew, things like that. Then the second tier is $5,000. And then you are a producer in the company. You still get a lot of the perks, just not to the same level as the executive producer. And then the third tier is $500. And with those, you are a contributor slash sponsor for our films. And all of these will get a lot of different perks, ranging from, like I said, you get revenue, you get voting rights within our films. So each level holds a different weight. And that weight is then counted for, if we were to say present 5 films that we are considering to be produced, we present those to our founders, and then the founders would vote on which film they would want us to produce. And those votes would be weighted on which tier of the founder NFT you hold. And then, like I said, the Neo NFTs, those are going to be around $150, and then based off of if you were whitelist or OG.
Okay. So do you have numbers for exactly how much weight is going to be given amongst the 3 different roles, or does that still have yet to be decided?
I do. Essentially, the way that you would work it out is each $500 equals a point. And then once you get to, divide 5,000 by 500, and you get 10 points. But then the second tier is going to have additional points for purchasing that tier. So instead of 10 points, you'd get 15 points. Then for the top tier, you're going to take that 35,000 and divide it by 500, and then add 10 points to the point total for that one after you divide it. I can do the quick math for you real quick, but that'll all be explained once the actual voting system has been released and when we first do our first vote.
Okay. So, quick recap on the mint here. We're looking at a time frame of 1 to 1.5 months. Starting price for the first NFT is going to be 150 in ETH, 125 for whitelist, and 100 for OG. Everybody in gray market, auto whitelist. Just go into the Discord and let Aaron know that you guys are from here. The founder NFTs, $500 for tier 1, $5,000 for tier 2, and $35,000 for tier 3, all with different perks / voting power rights. Is there anything I am missing that you feel is pertinent to include in this section?
The founder NFTs are not going to be sold as a traditional mint. You're not going to go on a site and, hit a button and purchase your founder NFT. I consider the founder NFT, like I said, you are investing in a company. So you're going to come onto our Discord and submit a ticket, and I will chat with you one-on-one about the founder NFT. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, that way everything is clear as it can be and you're as comfortable as possible before investing in the company. The Neo NFTs will be a traditional mint. They'll be held on our website. So there's 2 different ways that it will be done for purchasing the founder NFT versus the Neo NFT.
All right. Sounds good. Looking forward to that. Definitely going to be picking up one of those. Let's go over your partnership with somebody else we've had a AMA with on this channel, Gosu and Waifu TV. So tell me, give me everything about that, because I do have a personal interest in Waifu TV and what they are trying to do. So what exactly does your partnership entail?
So, not too long ago, we started the production services branch of the company, where we offer different production services for projects and protocols within the space, ranging from everything from creating a logo reveal all the way up to a full-fledged production, documentary, TV show, whatever you're looking to have created. And it was a natural synergy with Gosu and Waifu, because he's building a Web3 basically streaming service. And one of the big things that they were needing is they want to produce their own anime. So about a week ago, I finalized the animation division of Neo Films, and we will, once things are official, first we're going to do a demo reel of what the actual anime is going to be like, and then going from there, we will be producing anime content for Waifu TV. Also, I have a little bit of extra alpha for everyone here. 15 minutes before we got on this AMA, I got done with a conversation with Matt from Obsidian. So Neo will also be offering production services through Obsidian for all the projects and protocols that come through there to create video content for them as well.
So for those like me who do not know what Obsidian is, what could you give me? Oh, like the game company?
Oh, that's I didn't even think about the game. Good point. Good point. Now, Obsidian here in the crypto space, Obsidian Council, they help kind of educate those in the Web3 and crypto space about projects, mostly in the DeFi space, but also others. And they offer a KYC and audit service for those projects and protocols to not safeguard, but to allow projects to, pass those hurdles to kind of comfort the potential investors that might want to invest in their project. And so we added they're partnering with us to add an additional service to those projects and protocols, where we create video content for those projects as an added service when they might come in and, purchase KYC or auditing services from them.
Okay, so this partnership with Waifu TV, I've certainly voiced my concerns with the viability of a decentralized streaming service. How do you think this partnership exactly is going to benefit the holders of your NFTs? Because this sounds like a different process.
You never know if something's going to work until you try it. I had no idea if Neo was even a viable thing when I started it out, and it wasn't until you started to do it that you found out what the issues were and what the upsides were. So no matter what, I will give Gosu this: like, he will do it. If it fails, it fails, but he will do it. Until that point, we will be producing content for Waifu TV, and then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're in crypto, man. A lot of this stuff is experimental. It's we're on the cutting edge of things, and we're trying to figure it out. There is no real playbook to figure out. We just got to do it and see if it works. And I do understand your concerns, but on the other hand, that was probably the same thing that they felt when live stream gaming came out. It was like, nobody's going to really watch that, and now it's one of the biggest revenue generating industries out there. So if nothing else, we're going to try it. It will produce revenue for our holders, because we will get paid for the anime content that we create for Waifu TV. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you just take it and keep moving.
Of course, gotta take risks to make money in this space. Of course.
So it functionally is going to work the same way as the Web 2 film revenue generation would then.
Yeah, it's just another revenue stream that we've built beyond just the films themselves to bring in money for the company and its holders.
Okay. Is there any more information on this? I know you gave us a little bit of extra alpha there, but is there any other information we can squeeze out of you for the for this partnership you got going, or is there anything you wanna drive home about this?
No. I honestly am pretty optimistic about it. I think if there's anything about this space, it's ripe with opportunity. I think of this space like the Wild West of, the digital Wild West. There's lots of scams. There's lots of, lots of dangerous areas that you could tread in, but there's also tons and tons of innovation and opportunity in this space. And the only way that you're going to ever take advantage of that is by trying. So, and that's what Neo's doing. Neo is just, we're jumping in and we're doing everything we can to make it work. There's no blueprint. There's no guide. We're not following anybody else, so we don't have anything to go off of whether it's going to work or not. We're just we're figuring it out as we go along, and that's the way most innovators are. Is you have a great idea and then you figure it out as you go.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that in mind, the last main bullet point I have here is your documentary that you have been hired to make. So why don't you tell us all about that? Any details on the partnership with whoever you made the deal with, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So a little bit of backstory. When Neo started, the goal originally was just to make the film that I had set out to make called The Groomer. And as I got further and further in the space and, met more people, I started to just these opportunities for the project itself started to pop up. We had What Happens at Home, which is a script that I wrote years ago that picked up interest from Netflix, and we're working on the pre-production of that. And then during an AMA, I was introduced to a company called Meta Marketing International. And what they're trying to do is to create a Web3 documentary, kind of like I said, highlighting those of us in the Web3 space who are just trying to innovate and bridge the gap between the real world and Web3, and bring it into the mass, bring it to the masses, get it away from. They always say there's never going to be mass adoption of Web3 until your grandma can comfortably use the tech that we have here. So a lot of the companies that are being featured in this documentary are companies that are working to create that bridge. And we've been hired to travel to Barcelona and Toronto and head to these companies and shoot interviews and kind of do footage, I'd say style of Undercover Boss, and cover what they're doing, how they're bridging the gap, and create this docu-series that will then be released. Either we haven't fully figured out. The plan is to, use our contacts to release it on streaming, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. But there's also other revenue potential from that as well. We can create it where it can be something that's licensed and then, sent to Tubi or the umpteen other streaming services there are out there. I always say the biggest thing is that we are creating awareness of this space and creating a vehicle to bring this space to the masses outside of, the ones who are already here in crypto and Web3.
So, exciting stuff. Do you is there any specific deals that you have made with existing streaming services? Like, are you in talks with Netflix, HBO, Amazon Prime, anything of that nature, or is this all still in development?
So I have agents that I've already connected with Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. Before I even started the Web3 side of this company, one of the most important things to me was to creating relationships with those agents, because there's tons of people out there that can make movies, make independent films, but barely anybody can actually get it distributed, because you can have a great idea, you can make a film, but then how are you going to get it on Netflix? How are you going to get it on Hulu? How are you going to get it in theaters? So we have agent relationships with all of the major streaming services, as well as distribution licenses for theatrical release. Because I wanted to make sure, first and foremost, that was done before I ever even offered this company as a viable option, because you're never going to actually generate revenue without those partnerships.
All right. So the irons are in the fire, so to speak. So watch the space, I guess. You certainly seem to be having a lot of tentative success. You just have to get the movie made, and then you'll be able to throw that out, and I guess we'll see where that goes from here. So
Right. I have tons of irons in the fire, and I'm throwing more in there every day. I always say that if this thing were to fail, it won't be for lack of trying. Um, you know, as I'm testing out really all of these different avenues and seeing which ones are the most viable, and figuring out how to go from there. But everything is looking very, very promising on the horizon for Neo as of right now.
very good. Now, you know better than probably anybody in this entire group the length, the sheer length of time it takes from start to finish, from proof of concept to movie is released in theaters and you start churning in revenue. Um, do you have a ballpark estimate of when we mint this NFT in October/November? When do you think we would start seeing a ROI, if you even have an estimate on that?
So the average turnaround time for a film from principal photography, the first day of shooting, is about 6 to 9 months, depending on how much budget is there to accelerate the process. That being said, I always knew that time window was going to be a tripping point in this space, because we're used to everything at lightning speed, and getting a 10x in a day from launch. So I this is also the reason I have these multiple irons in the fire. Before I launched this part of the project, we produced a film called The Burden of Truth, or The Burden of Guilt, sorry, The Burden of Guilt. It was a low budget film that we've already presented to Netflix, and they are interested in purchasing it. We just have to create the final edit of the film and give it to them, and then they will essentially cut us a check. So once that is presented, that will be the first known revenue for the project, and that should be in about 2 to 3 months. But also the production services, like I said, anytime we get hired and we create a product for a company, that's all going to go back into revenue for our holders. So that could be, some of these projects can take a week to produce, some can take a month, but we have a lot of different revenue sources going right now to generate revenue for our holders, while we are working towards the big goal of producing What Happens at Home and The Groomer, which would not accelerate, but allow a much larger profit potential from being a holder versus the other projects that we're doing. But there will always be irons in the fire to generate revenue for our holders. So 2 to 3 months is going to be my short answer, or my long answer is there's lots of irons in the fire to create revenue, and it could be quicker than that.
Okay, so we're looking at like possibly weeks after we mint these NFTs to where we start seeing the first instances of return on investment.
Correct.
Well, I mean, crypto's fast, but I think that's a pretty good that's a pretty good starting point, I would say.
It's definitely slow in crypto terms, but I always have to preface it is this isn't something like any other project where you have to rely on other investors to spend money on it in order for your investment to go up. It's all revenue generated outside of the buying and selling of my NFTs. It's actual revenue that is sustainable. If as long as the roadmap works, I have a 10-year roadmap for NeoFilms, and that's just from what I've already put together. And that could, if I have my way, it's going to last 100 years. But that's something that you don't get a lot of in this space is actual projects that have a plan and an actual feasible plan to sustain themselves. We see projects and protocols disappear after launching a week after they launched, and that's one of the big things that I wanted to break away from with this project, was creating something that you could reliably collect passive income from by being an investor in it.
So there is no Ponzi-nomics here. This is this is not Ponzi films. You actually have because again, quick reminder, the projects are going to be fully funded by the people who contract you to do the films. So you do not need investor capital necessarily to make these films happen. This is just...
I need investor capital to create the big films, like The Groomer and What Happens at Home, but the production stuff, that I don't need any capital. We have all of the actors, we have all of the equipment necessary to produce that and bring in revenue. So the big goal is the big productions to really establish Neo as one of the first Web3 production companies and establish it to I hate saying it, but to the real world, and create that visibility to this space that we kind of need. But yeah, there's no Ponzi-nomics. It's all actual revenue from actual revenue sources from the real world.
Well, after 8 months of Ponzi games, nodes / whatever, this is definitely a breath of fresh air. Is there any other information about this that you would like to share before we turn this over to any community questions? Anything else?
I mean, to be completely honest, I could go on about Neo for another hour if you really wanted me to, but I would prefer to answer burning questions instead of just keep talking about myself.
Of course. So anybody in the audience, if you have a question for Aaron that you would like to get asked, please put them in AMA questions and we'll get those answered for you. Before we wrap this up, film kind of a side question. What's your favorite piece you've produced?
Favorite piece I have produced. Honestly, one of the favorite pieces that I ever produced wasn't the only reason that I really loved producing it was because I got to be part of something that had a lot of stars in it from my childhood. So it was really more about getting to meet people that I, grew up watching. Easy it is like Kevin Sorbo from the old Hercules show. And it was called Fatal Image. And that was early on when I first started doing production. It was probably like my second year, but I got to meet Kevin Sorbo, and I got to meet Leah Johnson and if you, no, Kate, what's her name? The Pink Ranger from the original Power Rangers. She was in it as well. I can't remember her name though.
Oh, I know
Kelly
who
Jo
you're
Johnson
talking
or
about.
something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was really more just because I got to meet a lot of my childhood stars that were in TV shows I grew up watching, but nothing beyond that. Nothing like oh, this was the most artistic piece that I ever got to produce or anything like that.
Of course. Does Netflix and whoever you're making deals with know about the NFTs, and do they plan on buying any?
They know what I am doing. They know that it is the whole production company is built around NFTs, but no, they have no intention of buying any. They have their own sources of revenue, and they don't really fund other production companies. They really just treated it almost as a we present stuff for them to potentially buy, and they either buy it or they fund it, but they don't fund the production company itself.
Gotcha. So we don't have to expect Netflix to completely sweep the floor.
I would never expect that to happen until we get to a point where we are actually competing against larger production companies. Then it becomes something where it would be beneficial for them to try and buy us out. But I also have it set up where once all the founders are minted out, it will be a NFT marketplace on site, so they can't just like go on OpenSea and buy up all the NFTs and now hold majority control of the founders. It would be something where you can go on to our own marketplace, and we make sure that it's not the same person or organization that's buying up 20 of the top tier founder NFTs.
Gotcha. Is the Obsidian Alpha Jesse Eccles' House of Obsidian?
Yes.
All right. Easy clap. So will there be one NFT, or will you make a new mint every time you come up with a movie idea similar to what Gala Music is doing?
So the founder NFTs are one-time mints. Those will never be minted again. The films themselves will each have their own Neo mint that will be connected directly to the film that it is funding. And the way that will work is once the actual film is released, then each of those NFTs will essentially be connected to a specific frame or piece of music from that film. Kind of the way you think of they haven't fully implemented it yet, but say you bought like a ticket to a game, they're considering where you buy an NFT ticket to a game, and then after the game is over, your NFT then turns into like a big play from the game. It'll be similar to that, where you are essentially owning a piece of the movie by holding that NFT, because then it's now associated to like a major scene or a scoring piece from the film, things of that nature. So it's literally a piece of the film.
All right, there you have it. Any more questions? What's the percent of profits roughly getting kicked back to the film NFT holders, not founder?
Could you repeat that?
What is the percent of profits roughly getting kicked back to film NFT holders, not the founder NFTs?
So you're talking about the Neo NFTs?
Yes.
So the Neo NFTs get more of the I would call them intangible perks of they don't get profit. They're not investors in the company. They get to have memorabilia from the film, whether that's, like I said, it will be connected literally to the film as a frame from the film. They'll get airdrops of autographed NFTs from the actors. They'll get concept art from the film. They'll get random raffles for, say, being an extra in the film, or meet and greet with the cast and crew, or all expense paid trip to the world premiere of the film. Those type of things. You get more of the intangible fan perks by holding your Neo NFTs, as opposed to investor perks like you would as a founder.
Okay, yeah. So you would want to be picking and choosing which film to buy these NFTs for, basically just how interested you are in X film rather than how profitable X film might turn out.
Right. Exactly. It's really more of a fan NFT set as opposed to an investor
Yeah.
NFT set. The perks will be NFTs. So say you're holding a Neo NFT and you get one of the random raffles for a all expense paid trip to the world premiere. Well, that will be a literal NFT pass. So say you really aren't interested in going to the world premiere, or you have family issues, or you just don't want to travel, well, you can then flip that NFT for a profit if you so choose. So you'll be able to make profit that way from the airdrops, same as the autographed NFTs, things like that, but you won't get actual revenue from the film.
All right. So don't you think the founder NFT mint should happen a few times a year to bring in investors instead of just fans? Wouldn't that benefit the budgeting for the projects you have planned? What's the purpose of only having one NFT founder mint?
The purpose of having one NFT founder mint is to bootstrap the company, to get all of uh, the initial things that we need, like I said, like cinema cameras, lighting packages, licensing, all of those type of things to establish the company. And then, I mean, why would you want to be an investor holding an investment founder NFT if it can be diluted every couple months when we make a new film? I'm treating it as, if you believe in the vision this early on, you deserve to benefit monetarily from it, for the rest of the life of that company. So we would then, that's also why we're not giving all of the revenue back to the founder holders. That's why 60% of everything we make goes into a kitty to produce the next film, so that we're not always relying on essentially fundraising to produce each film. It should be its own machine that funds itself as we keep going, and then that way the productions are paid for, the founders are collecting revenue along with the team, and we're not relying on, oh man, that NFT mint didn't sell out, we can't make this film. That wouldn't make sense.
Gotcha.
So you're essentially starting the machine, you're starting the engine. Once the engine is running, it's going to continue to run itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you are getting paid to make everything once you're, once everything is off the ground. Tinker does have his hand raised. Let's bring you up here. Can I do that? Invite sent. There we go. What do you got for us?
What's up, Tink? Dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause. Microphone probably not working. Technical difficulties. We love those. Does anybody else have any other questions they would like to post in our AMA questions? While Tinker gets the mic issue squared away. What was the total number of founders NFTs available again?
Oh, okay. I don't think we actually covered that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking. I don't remember hearing a number in the first place.
I always get caught up. Math and numbers is never my favorite thing. So the tier 1, the 35K tier, there is 25 of those available. The tier 2, which is the 5,000 tier, there's 125 of those. And the tier 3, which is the $500 NFT, there's 1,000 of those. So total, there's 1,150.
1,150. You said that wait, that was the. Oh, for all three tiers is going to be 1,150. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, total there's 1,150 of the founder NFTs, and split up among 1,000 for the $500 tier, 125 for the $5,000 tier, and 25 of the $35,000 tier.
Okay, gotcha. I do not know necessarily, Tinker, how to work anything on your phone once you're on stage. I've never had to do one of these stages with mobile before, so
You try to avoid stages with mobile because it never goes well.
yep. Discord is not, as much as they try to update it, it is not mobile friendly. Anybody else have any other questions before we wrap things up here? Got a lot of good information from Aaron regarding Neo Films, the founders mint, the first Neo mint, all of the partnerships and things he is building. So get hyped for Neo Films. Remember, there is a Neo Films Discord. We will be posting it in our Discord, as well as in the YouTube VOD in the description of this video that you're watching. So be sure to check out the Neo Films Discord. Ask any questions you would like to know about. Aaron, if you could just give us a quick recap of yourself, quick elevator recap of yourself and your project before we close things out here.
Sure. So, my name is Aaron. I'm the founder of Neo Masterpiece Films. My goal is to be one of the first Web3 production companies using NFTs to bridge the gap between the real world and Web3 by offering, anyone the opportunity to be a investor and receive revenue from film productions. And I've been working on this project on the crypto side for 4 months. I've been working on the project total for over a year now. And I have, in only the last couple months, I've already started several different revenue streams to produce revenue for the holders of my founder NFT. And as I've said before, I have been in this space the same as everybody else. We've been promised passive income and sustainable revenue and all of that, and it lasted like a week or a month. So it was one of my biggest goals was to actually create something that is sustainable passive income that doesn't rely on any Ponzi-nomics or people buying or selling of a token or an NFT. Just essentially people investing in allowing me to create my dream and make a living just making movies, not worrying about having to do all the other video stuff. And so by you investing in my dream, allowing me to do what I've always wanted to do and create that bridge, you get to benefit financially and creatively, because I think some people aren't just getting into it just to collect revenue from our production. Some people just really love movies and would want to have a say in what movies get made and who the lead actor should be and what the scoring is. And it's really as much an investment as it is a experience. You're really paying to get a behind the scenes pass that you would never get any other way.
Sounds very exciting. As I said before, guys, watch this space. This is definitely something unique that you're not going to want to miss out on. So please do your own research on Neo Masterpiece Films. Ask Aaron any questions you have in his own Discord. I think we might have one more thing here. Make a show similar to Power Make Me Ghost. Okay. But anyway, that is going to conclude another Gray Market AMA. I am Meta, your community manager and host of all things Gray Market AMA related. Also, watch this space. Maybe we might have a collaborative effort with Aaron on a sort of a DeFi show. We talked about that a little bit. No, we're not going to spoil Not going to spoil too much. We still need to go over more details on that, but anything could happen. So thank you guys for joining. Be sure to check out our AMA in 2 days with Acquirify, a follow-up AMA. So that's going to be the next scheduled programming. Aaron, thank you for taking your time out of your day to talk with us here about Neo. And yeah, everybody have a good day. Hopefully see you guys on Wednesday.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me chat about Neo. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care, sir.